Svein Tveitdal is the director of Klima 2020. He's also a former director of the United Nations Environment Programme. He joins us from Norway. Svein, always great to have you. Is the Paris Agreement a success?
Well, it is the best option we have. We have to take good care of it, and we need definitely to strengthen it.
But what about the aim, as stated under the agreement, of making sure global temperatures don't rise beyond 2 degrees above what they were during pre-industrial times? That's absolutely critical. Some people say 2 degrees is already too much. But how are we doing on that front in terms of the forecasts?
Far from enough. Maybe it is now too late to manage 2 degrees, but you know the agreement hoped for reducing emissions to 1.5 degrees. When the countries and governments put the pledges in Paris, these pledges put together would still give us a temperature rise on more than 3 degrees, maybe 3.5 degrees. And unfortunately, when we now take stock 5 years after Paris, many countries haven't managed to fulfill what they pledged. So, according to the Secretary General of the UN just last week, we are heading towards warming on 3 to 5 degrees this century, and actually climate catastrophe. And you know, in order to stick to 2 degrees, which were your question, we need to increase ambitions 3 times. And if we should still make 1.5 degrees, we have reached 1.2. We need to increase ambitions 5 times, actually.
I was just going to pick up on the phrase you used about climate catastrophe. And, you know, that letter that we're talking about, which is that open letter by 250 scholars and academics. One of them is from Case Western University in Ohio, Dr. Wanchat Teranyo. And he says, separately to that letter, but in conjunction with it, our civilization is much more fragile than we believe. We are now entering the change of Earth system toward a new equilibrium. This alone will be extremely harmful to our civilization, since all of our infrastructures were constructed based on stability. And we almost seem to be already experiencing that with more and more extreme weather events and the way people are suffering. But are you one of the ones who agrees with some sort of societal collapse being a possible or eventual effect of the climate crisis?
Yeah, if we don't do more now, that might definitely happen. But some good news also. You see, last night the EU was sitting together the whole night, forgot Brexit, and agreed on reducing emissions to 55% by 2030. And we see Biden is coming back. China has pledged climate neutrality in 2060. There are still hope. But if we wait much longer to take the necessary action, we might have to use war-like efforts to solve the problem. But now with COVID, we have reduced emissions 7% last year. Unfortunately, it will go up again. But if we mobilize the same efforts to solve the climate crisis as we have managed to do with COVID, we will get there. At least we will manage 2 degrees. So the hope is there. And the Paris Agreement is the framework we have to work within to achieve this.
Svein, there's a group of international lawyers that is looking into drafting a document which would lead towards ecocide, the destruction of environments, being regarded as an international crime on the same level as, say, crimes against humanity or genocide. Do you see any merit in that? Might it make a difference? Might it push governments to do more?
Yes, and this is still happening now. For instance, here in Norway and in many other countries, governments are sued because of their climate performance. For instance, in Norway, our constitution is granting fresh air and a clean environment to all citizens. And it is not happening with the climate policy we have now. And ultimately, and then we are sued for this. And these processes will be more and more around the world if we don't act very fast.
Director of Klima 2020, Svein Tveitdal, thank you so much indeed, Svein.